Hello everyone, welcome to Gora Studies. In this video, I will discuss what is factory design pattern, then we'll do some code walkthrough and also we'll discuss the advantage and disadvantage of factory design pattern. So what is factory design pattern? So in factory design pattern, basically we need to define an interface or an abstract class for creating an object, but the child classes are responsible to create the instance of the class. In other way, we can say in factory design pattern, we need to create the object of an interface rather than the class. Okay, so let's understand the concept in this diagram. We have two classes. Okay, one is Windows computer, this one, another is Linux computer, and both the classes are implementing the interface computer. Okay, so and suppose we have the this another class, this is called client code. Basically here we are writing the code. Basically this is the client code. It's accessing the object of Windows computer and Linux computer. But how we will create the object of these two classes here in this client code? Okay, let's see in the uh, coding how basically the objects are getting created here in the client code. Okay, so I created one interface, that is interface computer, and I'm just specifying one method, that is operating system, and created another two classes. One is Linux computer. Okay, and this class basically implements the computer interface, and we're overriding this operating system method and putting some, we are printing some message. This is Linux operating system. Okay, another class we created, Windows of computer. That class also implementing this computer, and we overriding this method. We are printing one message. This is Windows operating system. Okay, so if you go to this diagram, you can say this. Okay, these two classes we created, and the interface also we created. Okay, now coming to the client code. Okay, okay, so this is our client code. Okay, I created this is class. Okay, they are the client code class. This is, you can see, the main class. We have the main method. Inside that, how I am creating the object of Windows computer and the Linux computer. I'm just creating the object of Windows computer, and the type of the object should be the computer type. The computer is the interface. Okay, so as you know, the Windows computer and Linux computer both are implementing the computer interface so that we can create the object, okay, type of this computer. Okay, and if we uh, and if you run this main class, this client code, then you can see the message we are printing here. Those you can see here in the console. Okay, let's run this code quickly. Okay, so you can see this is Windows operating system and this is Linux operating system. Both messages are printed there in the console. Okay, so in this way we can create the object, but you know that the object creation logic and everything we need to write here in the client code. Okay, but in that case, what will be the problem? Okay, here we are creating the object of Windows computer, Linux computer. Okay, in your client code. Suppose in future you are going to add another class here. Okay, another class here, and that is called something like that, Mac computer. Mac computer. Okay, and that class also suppose implementing this interface. Okay, now see here in the code, what is the problem? You need to change here in your client code also. Okay, so let me create that another class also quickly. uh, Mac computer, Mac computer. Okay, and this also implements computer. Okay, and we can, okay, we need to override this method. Will print some message like it's a Mac operating system, Macintosh operating system. Okay, so now if you need to create the object of this class, then you need to, you know, add code here in this client code class. Okay, so if you now your client, if this client, if the client wants to create the object of Mac computer, then we need to write code here and we need to create the object of Mac computer. So another line we need to write here like that to create the object. Okay, create the object that this is suppose Mac computer, Mac computer. I'm giving Mac computer. Okay, so you can say it's a highly coupled. The object creation code or logic is highly coupled, okay, with the, you know, the classes and interface we have. So remove, basically to remove this dependency, the object creation dependency, okay, we need to use the factory design pattern. Okay, so basically the object creation part we are not going to do here in the client section, in the client class. So we will create the object in a different class, and client will just pass some information and they will get the object of the different classes based on the requirement. So we can decouple this object creation logic from the client. Okay, so and by using this factory class we'll do that. Let's see the diagram. So here we are going to introduce another class in between the client code and the compute interface. Okay, or you can consider this is a one section, you can consider. Okay, because there we have these three classes and all three classes are implementing this interface computer. And so between these classes and the client code, we need to introduce class another class, and that class is called the factory class. So we are giving the name computer factory. So inside this class we need to specify one method, and that should be an factory that should be a factory method, and that method will return the object of the classes like the Windows computer, Linux computer, or Mac computer. Okay, based on the requirement. So client code or client will send the send some information or the requirement, and based on this information or requirement, the computer factory class will return the object of that specific class. Suppose the client code is passing information Windows, okay, so that the computer factory class will return the object of Windows computer. Okay, so why it is called the factory class? Because, you know, basically the factory, you know, manufactures products. So here this class, so here basically this class manufacturing the object of different classes, that's why it's called the factory class. And the method basically called the factory method, the method we need to write here inside this factory class, it's called the factory method because inside this method basically we are creating the object of the different classes based on the requirement. Okay, so let's see in the code so that you can understand clearly. Okay, now I'm creating the factory class. Okay, so I'm giving name, let me create the factory class. I'm giving the name like computer factory because it's manufacturing computer. Okay, so I'm giving computer factory. This is my computer factory class, and uh, I'm specifying here a public method and static method so that to access this method, we don't need to create the object of computer factory class. Just by using the class name, we can access this the method. Okay, so and this method will return the object type of computer. Okay, the interface computer, so that the return type should be computer. I'm giving get computer object. Okay, computer object. Okay, and what it will return, suppose it return new uh, Mac computer. Okay, let me do pass some parameters. String uh, waste type I'm giving. Okay, so I'm checking here if waste type dot equal ignore case. Okay, ignore case I'm giving here Mac, then is create the object of, it's return the object of Mac computer. Okay, okay, else if OS type dot equal ignore case, I'm giving Linux, then it will return new Linux computer object, and else it will return, and else it return, you know in else it will return, you know Windows computer, return new Windows computers, Windows computer. Okay, so based on this parameter, okay, this factory method will return the object of the class. Okay, now coming to the client code. So now, do you think we basically we not record this much of code now? Okay, because it's now, the object creation part is completely moved to this factory class, so we don't need to write the code to create the object of these classes. So what we need to do, we just need to call the factory method. Okay, suppose linux computer, just a computer. Okay, so what we need to do, we just use the computer factory class, and get computer object, and the pass the parameter. Okay, so it will return the computer, the Linux computer object. So let's see it is returning the Linux computer object or not. Get dot operating system, and let's run this code. Yes, so this is Linux operating system. So where we have this message, so inside this Linux computer you can see this is Linux operating system. So it is returning the computer factory, basically returning the object of Linux computer. Now just we are passing Mac. Okay, let's run this client code. So you can see it's returning the Mac operating system. Okay, so it means the this computer factory returning the object of the Mac computer. Now changing the value like Windows. Windows. Okay, let's see it's returning the Windows object or not. Let's see the output. So it's giving this is Windows operating system, means this the object of Windows computer class is being created here. Okay, so now you can see by using this factory method and factory class, we can the remove the object creation dependency from the client code. We can decouple the object creation code from the client code, and that is the main the advantage you can say uh, for factory design pattern. By using factory design pattern, we can achieve this. So just from the client code, we need to pass the requirement or the information, and based on that we will get the object of the specific class. Okay, the client doesn't know the object creation logic and everything. It's completely hidden from the client. Okay, so now coming to the advantage and disadvantage of factory design pattern. So first, it's it guarantees the abstraction. Why? Because we are basically using interface or abstract class. Okay, so it basically guarantees the abstraction, hide complexity of object creation from the client, because object creation code where we are writing inside the factory class. Okay, so that the client code doesn't know how the objects are getting created. Okay, so it's completely hidden from the client. Loose coupling, I already explained that. Okay, how it is loose coupling. Okay, we are basically removing the dependency of object creation from the client code. Okay, and as it is a the loose coupling, the code is much flexible and adaptable. Okay, so these all are the main advantage of factory design pattern. And coming to the disadvantage, we don't have much disadvantage, but the code is little bit complex, because we are using interface or abstract class, or again we need to introduce and the factory class in between the client code and the uh, interface. Okay, and we need to separate the uh, object creation code, okay, from client code. Okay, so we need to create the object in a separate class and return back to the client code. So that's why the code is little bit complex, but it's flexible, adaptable. Okay, and it's also provide the 100% abstraction, you can say. We can achieve the 100% abstraction here. Okay, and also it's hide the complexity of object creation from the client. Okay, so that's it in this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.